Oh, hope you all had a wonderful night rest because I did myself. Yes, as you all know, this is GbaramatuVoiceTV, the number one Niger Delta leading Niger Delta Media Centre in the heart of Warri, Delta State. And of course, you know why we are here today. Today is beyond the headlines. You know how we do it? Well, we review lead stories, highlights from various Nigerian newspaper, and of course, you know, I'm your host of this program. Bestolo is my name. Yes, today being the 18th day of January 24, and of course, I'm not in the studio alone. I have my colleague with me this morning.
Yes, good morning, this special morning. My name is Sheriff David Dieprie. We'll be moving straight down to today's business. But before we go there, my colleague, you're looking very beautiful. You're looking peaceful this morning.
Thank you very
How's your
much.
night?
Probably because we're already going towards the weekend, and
Weekend.
you know, we're just happy.
Yes. The bright
Thank you.
weekend. It's a bright
Thank you
weekend.
very much. I appreciate.
Yes.
So, moving down to what we are for today. I
Yes.
think you should start.
Okay. We'll be reviewing the various newspapers that we are having. And we'll be starting with the Vanguard newspaper. Retired Assistant General's wife kidnapped in her home. We can read that on page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper. Tinubu commends Abdulrazak and other governors for commending and coming for the meeting in Abuja. Stop medical tourism. Develop our hospitals. Nigeria tells Tinubu. Lastly, why I committed over 1.5 billion on humanitarian causes in 2024. That was said by Peter Obi. We can have more highlights on that on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. That's all we are having for the Vanguard newspaper. So let's move to next.
Moving forward, we have for the Punch newspaper, starting with the lead story. Petrol pump price surges to 1,150 naira after Dangote hike. Brace for more price raise, marketers tells Nigerians. Yes, moving to the top. 18 Unilag female first class graduates. Oshun, how DSS busted ISWAP terrorists who passed as wash repairers. That you would find on page 4 of the Punch newspaper. Accidental discharge. Grieving families helpless as killer cops revel in freedom. My daughter planning wedding to pharmacist before mother of copper beheaded by gospel singer. Why I have not remarried 4 years after my wife's death. That you would find on page 15 of the Punch newspaper. I love men who use sex toys on me. Adala Pinking on entertainment on the Punch newspaper. And that is all we have for our lead stories on the Punch newspaper.
That's very excellent. Moving forward this beautiful morning, we'll be reviewing the Vanguard, the Guardian newspaper. Sorry about that. Under the Guardian newspaper, we'll be saying, danger looms as fake drugs, harmful food floods markets. We can read about that on page 8 to 9 of the Guardian newspaper. Return of Trump and revival of ideological confrontations among nations. We can read that on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. Tracking the underground plots for Abdulrazak's successor by Kwara APC and PDP. We can read that on page 30 of the Guardian newspaper. Second to the last, lessons Tinubu needs from mission to United Arabic
And that's all we have
for the Guardian newspaper this morning.
So moving forward, I would be quickly reviewing the stories on the Nation newspaper. First, with the lead story.
Yes.
Lack of banking details delays first direct LG allocations. 774 local governments to receive 361 billion naira. That you would find more details on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. Moving to the top, vandals plunge 60% of Abuja into darkness. That you would find on page 2 of the Nation newspaper. Mbata's kinsmen move against him as new Ohaneze leader. Strip him of all Ikwere chieftaincy titles, others. That you would get on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. Tax reform bills. Tinubu aids governors over support. That you would also get details, more details on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. Soldiers sentenced to death for Mutiny Relive ordeal. Our relations died of shock from death verdict. We've waited 3 years for our entitlement. Those stories, rather, you would get on page 11 of the newspaper. Police comb Ogun swap for abducted retired AIG's wife. Page 3 of the Nation newspaper. AMCON raises the alarm over 4 trillion naira debts. That you would also get more details, more stories on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. And lastly, Nigeria's GDP to grow by 3.6% in 2025, says World Bank. Yes, and that is all we have for the Nation newspaper.
Yes, that's very excellent. Quickly, we'll be reviewing the Daily Trust newspaper. How Tinubu and other governors struck deal on tax bills. We can read about that on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Dangote increases fuel price to 955 naira per litre. We can read about that on page 9 of the Daily Trust newspaper. How I became DG of FROCN and NTA was said by Alhaji Mohammed Ibrahim. We can read about that on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Lastly, inside Kano's 15-meter liter cow milk business. We can read about that on page 20 of the Daily Trust newspaper. So
yes, and lastly, I would quickly be talking on Punch Sports Extra. Yes, Arsenal used to make me cry, said by Awuram. Sadio may face Sociedad as Valencia weigh 300k euros clause. Haaland signs a new City deal till 2034. Yes, guilty. Okoye under probe for anomalous betting faces 4-year ban. Palmer doubtful for Wolves clash. Deco pledges support for Qatar Open golfers. Willian open to EPL return. Cricket, Nigeria's path to glory as Women's Under-19 World Cup begins. Gunners host Villains in EPL showdown. Bees Reds clashes at Community Stadium. Yes, and that is all we have for our lead stories from our various Nigerian newspaper and also on sports. So quickly, let's get down to the business of the day as usual.
Yes. So, which one would you like to review first now?
Quickly, I think you should start with Vanguard.
Vanguard
You want to start with
newspaper.
Vanguard newspaper?
Yes. That's very okay. So let's talk about stop medical tourism, develop our hospitals. The message which Nigerians that are passing to
Okay, that you would find on what page?
On page 10.
Page 10 of the Vanguard newspaper. Yes, that is our lead story for the Vanguard newspaper. Stop medical tourism. Develop our hospitals. Nigerians tell
Tinubu, our president. That's a very good one. Actually, a lot of people they try it possible to travel out so that they can go and get medications to take care of themselves. Meanwhile, we don't have
there is no good health facility in Nigerians. And I think what actually prompted this, it was due to the retirement of, I think a protest was held of recent. Our ex-generals. They came together and they protested for their retirement benefits. So Tinubu actually heard their cry and actually approved this bill. I think it was over $20,000. Yes, a year. And order for exclusive medical bills abroad. And other benefits like
bulletproof cars,
SUVs. In fact,
they even gave them residential enforcement.
In fact, AIDS at home and everywhere. Over for like a year. So I think this is where Nigerians now came out and they were like, that is very, very outrageous. How would you think of these exclusive things and we as Nigeria were actually suffering healthcare centers, appropriate healthcare centers. It is actually very bad, and very bad. I think Nigerians are not smiling at all. They said these are things we should focus on. Now, most of these politicians, when they are sick, they tend to travel abroad because the fund is there. But now Nigerians, I think you want to say something?
They are not finding it funny anymore because had it been our local facilities they are working, our local medical centers are working, at least the common man will be able to go to the nearby, hospital to treat himself. Not trying to look for how he's going to travel out to go and get the required medication.
In fact, most of our healthcare centers, they are not working anymore. They are not working anymore. For you to get a functional, good hospital, it is something else.
Yes, you have
people die.
Yes, people die on a daily basis. Every second, every minute, people are dying. There's no way they can even get proper medical treatment to treat themselves. For common malaria, at least, even the hospital should be able to have like medication that is going to cure good facilities. But now they are lacking facility. Most of the time, so even pay the staff is a problem. Most of the times, if you don't even pay the staff, how would they treat the victims? They won't have the interest to treat them. They won't treat you happily. But when they are being paid, at least they will be encouraged to do the needful. But now there's no way. Everybody's thinking of how they will travel out for them to go and get, and it doesn't work that way.
How many of us can even afford traveling out to get a treatment done?
Yes, that's
but now our politicians